Merry Christmas and happy Packers game day, Packer family. Welcome in to the Pack a Day podcast. I'm your host, Andy Herman. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. Not going to take a ton of your time today. I know it is Christmas Day, but we do have a Packers-Browns matchup that, now that we got some Browns players back, should be pretty fun. So we'll get into that right away. I want to start with the Browns because we did get some major updates from the Browns on Friday. First and foremost, they had a handful of players that returned from the COVID IR list. That includes AJ Green, the cornerback, not the wide receiver, Ifeadi Odenigbo, as well as Case Keenum, their backup quarterback, Jarvis Landry, and then most importantly, I should say, Baker Mayfield as well. So Baker Mayfield will make his first ever start at Lambeau Field, and that certainly makes this game much more interesting with the Browns having their starting quarterback going into this game. It was always sort of what was expected, but not always known for sure. Now we get clarity on that Baker Mayfield will in fact be the starting quarterback for the Browns, and they will have their backup in Case Keenum as well. There were a bunch of other roster moves by the Browns. The only other really main one was that their kicker, Chase McLaughlin, was placed on the COVID IR list as well. So Chris Nager, somebody I have never heard of, will be their replacement at kicker. So that could be something, as those of you who have followed the Packers closely, which I'm assuming is pretty much all of you, the winds at Lambeau and kind of, can swirl and can kind of cause some issues. So if you've never kicked there before, it can definitely be a little bit of an experience. And we'll see if a Browns kicker making his NFL debut, I believe it's his NFL debut, will have any struggles at Lambeau outdoors on Christmas Day. So that will be something worth monitoring as well. The Browns were not the only team, however, to make some significant moves on Friday. The Packers also had some moves, both good and bad. Let's start with the good, and it's really good. Kenny Clark was activated off the COVID IR list, so he is going to be able to play and is expected to play for the Packers against the Browns. So that is huge news. Chauncey Rivers is placed on the COVID IR list, so they get a little bit, just another player on the COVID IR list, I guess I should say. And certainly no breakout as of yet, which is huge news for Green Bay. They've mostly been able to weather that storm, knock on wood, but another name on the list, and that is, again, Chauncey Rivers. Cole Van Lanen, once again elevated to the active roster for game day, so he will make his second Packers game day experience. And then a bit of bad news as well. Ty Summers and Malik Taylor both headed to the just general IR list. So this is not COVID IR. This is just IR, which means they will both miss the next 3 games. So something worth monitoring there as well. Neither player definitely key players on offense or defense respectively, but both players are on a lot of the special teams units. So that just puts Mo Drayton's unit even more behind the 8 ball. We'll see if that affects anything, but it's getting closer and closer to the time where Green Bay needs to look at putting some more significant players on special teams. Maybe not the rest of the regular season, but certainly come playoff time, they need to do everything they can to make sure that special teams is shored up. And I think come postseason time and an all-in season, you have to know that you have to take a little bit more of an injury risk to get your best players out there and say, hey, it's time for you guys to go out. We need you on special teams and do what you need to do, because right now the special teams, as we've discussed, can lose a game for you at any given moment. As I mentioned, I'm not going to take too much of your time today. A couple of things to kind of keep an eye on. Keep an eye on the inactives, specifically Myles Garrett. That is a huge player for the Browns, and if he's unable to go, that changes this game entirely for the Browns defense and the Packers offense. So no Myles Garrett would be a massive break for the Packers. Again, not certainly ever rooting for injury. Always want players to be healthy and the best going against the best. We know that there's going to be a ton of players for both sides, a ton of important players out in this game, but it'll be worth monitoring if Myles Garrett is one of them. Another quick thing that I'm looking at is, can Green Bay actually get out to an early lead? I think if they can get out early, I think they can really take hold of this game and maybe never give it back. And that's sort of what I'm expecting. More on that in just a moment. But I don't want to see Green Bay get off to another 7-0 deficit in the first quarter. This is a good enough team that they should be winning right out the gate. This is a team that is well prepared, well coached, and Matt LaFleur generally has a great game plan to start off with. It's time to execute better and go out and start Christmas Day off with a bang and get this game going and the Packers out to an early lead. So I'm going to be watching that as well. If you haven't had a chance yet to watch Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah Koromoa, play football yet, enjoy him. He is a inside linebacker for the Browns. Super fun player. He glides. His movement skills are just incredible, and is a really fun linebacker to watch. So enjoy him as a football player, but keep an eye out for him as a Cleveland Brown that could wreak some havoc in this game as well. So just kind of a player to keep an eye on. But I'm going with a easy win for Green Bay in this one. On Green Bay Nation earlier in the week, I said Green Bay by 30. I'm going to pull back on that just a tad bit. Baker Mayfield's back. Jarvis Landry's back. Myles Garrett could go. So I'm going to reel it back in just a little bit. It's Christmas Day. I'm going to say Packers by a perfect 25. I'm going to say 42-17 Packers in a blowout on Christmas Day at Lambeau Field. I think that game a week ago for the Browns is really, really going to weigh on them. I think they put a ton into a lot of players and backups and getting them ready for a Raiders game. I think they poured a ton of effort and energy into that game. It was postponed. They really wanted that game. You could tell Mullins leads them to that potentially game-winning touchdown drive, only to see it disappear as Derek Carr and friends were able to get into game-winning field goal range and kick the game-winning field goal. I think that's going to rip the heart out of the chest a little bit for the Browns, and I think they're going to come with a little bit of a hangover in this game. I expect Green Bay to get out, Aaron Rodgers to get that record-breaking touchdown, and I think the Packers are going to be good and rolling from there on out. So 42-17 Packers is my official prediction. Last but not least, before I get out of here today, I just really want to thank you for supporting myself as well as Pack a Day. It means a ton to me, whether you're listening to this or listening to the audio version of the podcast. The fact that anyone takes any time out of their day to listen to me or to watch me or to listen to the Pack a Day podcast, it still blows my mind, and I am super appreciative of it. And I just wanted to say that and say thank you because it doesn't go unnoticed, and it means a lot, again, that you are tuning in every day and making this something that you do on a daily basis. So appreciate you. I hope you all have a wonderful and safe and happy holidays. For those of you who are celebrating Christmas, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. More importantly, for those of you who are celebrating the Packers, have a great Packers game day. But I will see you tomorrow with a recap of today's game. But until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.